That is one big ass billboard, both those. So, funny story about these billboards down in Seville. So, if you're ever down this way going into the Smokies, there's these big digital billboards right here. There's like 5 or 6 of them throughout Whitfield Dunn Parkway or Route 66, whatever you want to call it. Once you get off exit 407, which is straight down there, this will lead you right to the Smokies. Anyway, the story behind these billboards, I come to find out that there's this 85 or 90-year-old woman that's had a lease on these for almost 20 years. And the lease is up in about 15 months. And this lady, I kid you not, she's clearing probably about $10,000 a month for each of these billboards because she actually owns the billboards. So the advertisers reach out and she gets that. Now, when they're digital, so like that one right there, straight ahead, it says Martin Guitar Sale, and there's usually like 3 or 4 digital ones that rotate every like 15, 20 seconds or something. Like there's another one just changed to Bud's Gun Range. So she gets 10,000 for just a normal one, but when they're electronic like that, depending on how many people are actually on that billboard, she gets 10,000 for each one. So she could be clearing 30 to 40,000 a month from each billboard. And I think she has like 6 or 7. So imagine the possibilities. Now the city has told her once the lease ends, those were going to come down. That's what at least I was told. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. And she not happy. There's this Mustang in front of me, gassing his vehicle right in front of me so I can hear his loud house muffler. But she's a little pissed off about having to give up that lease. So, but it was like a 20-year lease. So, fun fact about Seville, as you're driving to the Smokies, now you could say you learned something today. So, hello, friends. This is Colin. Hope everybody's doing well. Today, I'm going to talk about this Harley Davidson Pan America Special and how, after 3 years, do I still like it? Do I regret purchasing it? And I've done a couple videos in the past about like regret. Now this was a while back, I think like a year or 2 years ago when I first bought this thing, because this is a 21 and today's 2024. So I was one of the first people to buy this lovely motorcycle when they first came out. And when I heard about it before even 2021 it came out, I was really looking forward to purchasing this thing because I've always liked an adventure bike and looked into Harley and it looked pretty cool. Fast forward like 3 years later, and that's what today's about. Oh, look, the county fair. I don't know if that's the county fair, but that's those one of those cheap carnivals that you always see. I don't know about you, but I kind of try to stay away from those because I don't trust those rides so much because you hear the stories about there. And then there's the carnival people, of course. Carnival people, I'm sure they're nice, fine folks. But anyway, after 3 fun-filled years of this thing, I could go in here and say, oh my God, this is everything you've heard about the Pan America, because there is a lot, right? So you have heard that there was a myriad of problems with these things in the beginning. Reliability sucks. You buy this thing, it automatically loses half its value. There's electronic issues, there's battery issues, all kinds of stuff. And I even did a video on like some of the idiosyncrasies that this thing has. And there are a couple. But honestly, this is the best bike I have ever owned. And I'm saying that 100%, even though I've got a good friend a couple years ago that bought a Pan America, and he ended up selling his and he ended up trading it for another bike. He had some problems with it, not major ones, but it wasn't like my experience. My experience with this thing has been just outstanding. Yes, I've had a couple of those little gremlins, and it was a first-year model, and people warned me, whatever you do, don't buy a first-year model, whatever you do, because there's going to be issues. And sure enough, there were. I mean, there were a couple here and there. I know there's the biggest one that people have had, and over time has been the fuel pump. So after a certain amount of miles, your fuel pump goes out. There's starting issues that people had in the beginning. The good thing is, over time, Harley has addressed all those issues, and they've slowly fixed them all. Actually, with most of the updates that Harley has done on this motorcycle, when you take it in and they flash it, they've fixed a lot of these issues, and each year they get better and better. The fuel pump thing, I haven't had that issue, so to speak. It could happen to me one day, but as of right now, it hasn't. I had the radiator hose that kind of burned a hose, or it burned into it, and that was another thing. They fixed that under warranty. I've had a couple small issues with the fob, fixed under warranty, but most of them have just been computer updates that have fixed these issues. And I've taken this thing on many, many miles, man. I've done off-road and I have done on-road. And if you've never rode one, I would highly recommend you try it, because now, from the 2024s, from the 2021s, they're a lot more refined. Like, even though I love this bike, I wish if I had a chance and I'd get the same value, I'd probably trade up to a 2024. But honestly, Harley's having a hard time selling these right now. I think they got such a bad reputation from the first couple of years with all the problems. Now they're hard to move. But the people that I've talked to that own these, that have gotten on the road, have taken them off-road and on-road, say it's the most fun they've ever had on a motorcycle. And I can attest that 100%, that this thing rides great, man. It's fast as hell. It's light. Off-road, it's great. I enjoy it. Now, I'm not talking super off-road, guys. I'm just talking about normal, your dirt pass and everything. I'm not going to be taking this up to Moab or anything, but because, it does weigh 550, so you're probably going to ride off-road in a little bit lighter bike, a midsize. But regardless, this thing has just been great for me. I've taken it on. I'd say 80% of my rides have been on-road, not off. But the times I have taken off-road, I feel like a kid again. And it's just like reinvigorated my riding. It makes me want to enjoy it day. Now, I enjoy my Street Glide Special, I do. But this is just a different feel. It's just something that I get excited on riding it, and it's so much fun. And it still gets a lot of people asking questions. Harley makes an adventure bike? Yeah, we've done for 3 years. So even though it's gotten a bad reputation in the past couple of years with some problems, I will tell you, if once they've, it seems like they've gotten their stuff together with this bike, and all those issues that were in the beginning have been fixed through warranty, through recalls, through updates, and this thing's running great. So I would highly recommend it. So after 3 years, I'm going to be that guy that says I recommend this bike. I might get some pushback on it. I might get some people that go out and cry and talk about all the problems they had, and that is totally fair, because there were some times, or there were some people that did have a lot of problems. But doesn't every bike have problems too? And one thing I did learn, though, and in the beginning I really didn't think and didn't listen, but on a brand new model, I would wait a year or two. And probably in the beginning, I'm like, it'll be fine. I didn't have that issue with the Milwaukee 8 when I bought it with the Street Glide, because I bought that the first year too, and no issues with that one. But the Revolution Max engine, probably should have waited a couple years for them to get all the kinks out, but they have, just more on the backside. But now the 24s ride differently. From the people that have told me, it's a much smoother ride. The transmission is smoother. A lot of the battery's bigger now, so those battery issues, that the electrical's different, so they changed up the electrical. The windshield's more sturdy, little things like that. But if you can get a good deal on a 21, 22, or even a 23 Pan America used, which you probably can, because you're hearing stories about people that paid a lot of money for these things in the beginning, and now they might even be worth half that price. So you can get a great deal on these bikes, and man, get out there and try it on a test ride. So that's all I have today. I'm enjoying this beautiful Tennessee weather. Oh my gosh, it's like 95, 96 degrees today, and we're almost in September. You can't beat that. It is a tad hot for me, but I'm sure enjoying it. Now get out there and ride. Be well, and I'll talk to you guys soon.